88.7 FM, the people's voice.
This is Kunle Amzat Studio, Agidigbo 88.7 FM. Welcome to the Dailies.
A very good morning to you, Nigerians, and you're welcome to the Koleam's Art Studio this morning. This is the first time we're meeting this month of June, as today is June 3. So I say, Happy New Month to you. And I hope you're right there and listening to us on the radio and also watching us live on our Facebook at Akidigbo 887 FM. Don't forget that. That is where you get to drop your comment and also let us know how you feel or what you're thinking are concerning the topics we're discussing, after which analysts had already explained the stories to and let us know how they affect and concern us. And of course, we'll open the phone lines at some point for you to call in and let us know what your thoughts are. My name is Wuraola Yusuff, and of course, I'll be taking you through the rounds of our daily newspapers today. But before then, let me ask you, where are you? Are you at home? On your way to work? Just trying to see how today we pan out concerning the labor strike and what have you. Okay, let's go through the front pages of our daily newspapers for today. On the front page of the Punch newspaper this morning, on page 2, AGF tackles Labour as the National Assembly fails to stop strike. A writer to the story says AGF says a planned strike violates court order. Federal government insists on 60,000 naira minimum wage. Page 24 says Jankos threaten shutdown as debt eats 3.7 trillion naira. On page 23, naira devaluation pushes listed firms' forex debt near 4 trillion naira. CBN clears $830 million foreign airlines trapped funds. That is coming from IATA. On page 23, to 24,535 candidates to retake UTME June 22. And that is coming from Jump on the front page of the Punch newspaper today. Moving on to the Nation newspaper this morning, there is a news on page 2 from the federal government explaining why NLC and TUC and all other labor union strike is illegal. A Daily Trust, we also have the story on the issue of strike, saying labor's action is illegal. And then uncertainty over Hajj pilgrims airlift. That is on page 4. One of the stories, one of the things that the strike may probably affect. On the front page of the Vanguard newspapers, this strike may as well affect schools, banks, and other things, because this news says a few schools, banks, others to be shut. A strike begins today. A couple of writers to that concerning how the federal government is warning NLC, TUC, and also other discussions concerning this. On page 20 of the Vanguard newspaper, Anxiety as federal government borrows 20.1 trillion naira under Tinubu. Yes, that story is right there, and of course, we'll be touching on it. Nigeria must leverage a national asset to attract forex inflow. That story is on page 22 to 23 of the Vanguard newspaper today. And this is an interview discussing how the problem with Tinubu's misfiring leadership can be solved. I didn't believe I would last 1 month in office. That is coming from Fubara on page 23 of the Nigerian Tribune this morning. Federal government to expand the Marshal Corps to 100 per state, page 30 of the Nigerian Tribune. Ayedatiwa rolls out electricity meters, prices, directs BEDC, others to stop estimated billing. That is on page 11 of the Nigerian Tribune. Of course, we have the story of the new minimum wage discussion right there. Labour Party crisis festers as obese supporters reject Abure's new directorate. That is on page 25 of the Nigerian Tribune. Consumers, traders lament as FCCPC visits Lagos market, page 21. This is on the issue of food inflation. 2024 UTME, we've said this earlier, but let me just repeat it for a number of people and a number of parents that have students that did this examination. JAMB reschedules 24,535 candidates for supplementary exams. Right after the story says, JAMB releases 3,921 additional results. Page 11 of the Nigerian Tribune. These stories are what we'll be discussing in the studio this morning. Of course, these are the stories that concerns this great nation and, of course, these citizens, me and you. I have in the studio with me this morning, as usual, Maestro, to help us analyze in-depth analysis on how the stories they affect and concern us. Good morning, Maestro.
Good morning.
Yes, you're welcome. I hope the strike will not be affecting you and maybe us. So, are we?
It's our culture.
It's our it's our culture.
It's our culture. So we come to this point from time to time. So.
Okay, so as usual, it is not anything new, but yesterday night they are meeting the English that we all know, deadlock. Yes, so it happened again yesterday night, and then the strike is supposed to start today. But then again, we are going to have quite a lot of people not being able to go to where they're supposed to be for what I can call their daily bread. And also, we have the AGF saying something concerning the fact that people, he said Section 18 of the Trade Dispute Act requires a worker employed in any essential services to give their employer 15 days notice before ceasing their services, and any who did not comply will be liable on conviction to a fine or imprisonment for 6 months. So how many people are we talking about going to jail for 6 months?
Like I told you, it's a culture. It's something we do from time to time, right through all administrations without exception. You won't find any administration that there wouldn't be trade disputes, workers going on strike at different levels. So you always have it. And this one, it's not going to be an exception because it's come to be our culture. I didn't also expect that it will not come to this point. I expected it fully. However, you have to realize that there are quite a number of ways to look at this. This time around, it is about minimum wage. Some other times, there's always a reason for the NLC, TUC, and so on to go on strike. So, what do you expect? You know, Nigerians generally who could put a chart together and begin to really reflect on these. What do you expect from the federal government as a worker? What do you think should be the figure that we should even be talking about? So if the federal government is saying 60,000 naira, it's not going to take care of business in the homes. But that sounds much more sensible to me than somebody saying 400,000 naira or something like that. You know, so I think they are wasting our time or they are playing politics. But I also know that's one way of looking at it. It's either wasting everybody's time with working out, throwing tantrums, and so on, than saying, look, we will be expecting something. This is our figure. So that most of us who are on the outside could begin to reason along with labor. I don't know how I will reason along with anything like 400,000. It doesn't make any sense to me. But I know that they are also negotiating like that, so that the federal government will come out with something more reasonable than
At the end of the day,
than 60,000 naira. So they will sort it out. You will see. We will wake up. And I don't even know how long an industrial action like this, it doesn't last long anymore, because things have changed. Not necessarily because they don't want it to last long, but because a lot of things have changed. In the past, when you have a body called Nubifie, joining the strike, it's going to grind almost everything. You can't do bank transactions. You couldn't do anything. But it's different today. You have electronic banking. And so if it's just to get money, to do things, you use your card, they will be functioning to that extent and so on. And so then again, they have really polarized the ranks of labor. During the Obasanjo administration, strikes like this led to government ensuring that they tore the TUC away from the NLC. They said they were separate bodies before and so on. And so the strength of that body became further reduced. So you have a lot of things that's changed the face of labor-government relationship. So we are in a cycle. This cycle will go. Labor will get more. Inflation will eat it up. And then we'll be looking at the next cycle where labor will threaten to. It's the normal thing for attorney generals and representatives of government to say, oh, you're going against the law. You're this and that. But it doesn't stop labor from doing whatever it wants to do.
And nobody would get arrested.
Nobody is going to get arrested or anything at the end of the day. And when it's almost over, you see, you hear things like the usual, no work, no pay. You will not be paid for the period you are on strike and so on. So they say all these things. And it's all part of the cycle, which shouldn't be, because it's because we have a wrong structure. That's why we're going through this kind of, vicious cycle. It's absolutely unnecessary. If it wouldn't have been happening like this if we had, a good structure.
Okay, although the strike wouldn't be affecting the WAEC examination that is going on, but it will be affecting some other things. One of them is the aviation sector, which concerns those that are going for Hajj at this time. What do you think of this, Mr.? Because I believe they're supposed to be there at a particular time.
We are going to find a way. This is Nigeria. Hajj will happen. People will go to Hajj. The strike is not going to. They will find something to do about that, because even if it's, going to postpone their strike or whatever it is, if they are going to exempt people who are going to work there, if senior officers will go and carry out, the assignment, something will happen.
It will happen somehow.
That people will go to perform the Hajj.
Okay. This from the Speaker of the House of Senate, saying that mistakes of several decades cannot be repaired in one day. Do you think this is true concerning the minimum wage? Saying the amount they are asking for is actually too much for the country to pay right now, and saying the mistakes of several decades can be repaired in one day.
You see, some things are right, but when they are being said by some people,
by someone, who is it coming from?
I have a problem with that. and that is what I said the last time, that but it's not everybody that will grasp what you're saying or your position. So it should not be this man who is living in opulence, who has everything in this life he doesn't even need, that he
Sending-
will never use for a lifetime.
Sending prayers in
You're
mails.
packing money in billions and enjoying life at that level, and you're now saying you're part of the mistake of the decades that you're talking about. This is where the problem is. It should not be coming from them. We're not saying it's wrong. Yes, it's right that you cannot correct the mistake of several decades and so on and so forth. The money is too, but it shouldn't be coming from you. I mean, how do you find the courage to say it? You know, living in obscene wealth like that in the midst of poverty in this country, and then you come out and say mistakes of many decades. You're part of the mistake. As a matter of fact, the mistake of many decades continues with you. The way you are insisting on riding the kind of vehicles, you know, that you ride, the kind of money that you take, the kind of lifestyle that you sustain in the midst of this terrible, terrible poverty. So I don't think it should be coming from him. But yes, I just cannot resist separating the message from the messenger in instances like this. But it is true that the mistake would have to be corrected. But are we even correcting the mistake of many decades? That's another question. Because if you want to correct the mistake of many decades, you won't spend your time on changing, you know, switching from one national anthem to the other one. You will be busier than that, you know, and you will be concentrating on key issues like restructuring the country. You will be speeding state police right through the process like you speeded this one through. So I'm not comfortable, you know, hearing this from people like that, sincerely.
It is true, but coming from the person it is coming from.
I can't just, you know, what it does is it reduces my focus on the issue and increases my focus on the person who is talking, because it's sometimes very irritating for people who are taking more than they should from the system to be telling people who have nothing that, you know, you can just have a little more. We cannot afford to give you more. Who are you?
Okay, the Labour requested for salvation wage and not survival wage. And at this point, federal government is on 60,000 naira. Do you think if it is like a bit better, talking about 150,000 naira or 250,000 naira, thereabouts, that should still be enough for Labour to manage at this point? Or
What?
That's
What did you say? I didn't get your figure.
should it? Or like, I mean, 150,000 naira to 200.
You know, we are going to, I think, end up around the range of 100,000.
100.
Might be a little less even.
Wow.
You see, because you cannot get what is not there.
We do not have it.
You can't get what is not there. Look, if you just consider it, let's say if I were Labour, I would be presenting to the people what's the number we are talking about. What's your population? What's the range? If you look at the population and you look at the range, don't forget about state government and so on, IGR and so on. It's all coming from the center. It's coming from one purse, with the exception of places like maybe Lagos. It's coming from a single purse, and at the end of the day, how much do you have in that purse? And if you finish paying the kind of salary, salvage, or what do they call it?
Salvation
You
wage.
can't pay it for 3 straight months.
Wow.
The economy will be down. So, and it is so much because we're monetizing even the national dialogue that we're having over this issue. We're not really looking at anything else other than, I want more money. But what you're asking for is more paper.
Okay, Maestro, before we continue the conversation concerning labor unions and federal government, let's go pay some bills. We'll be back.
Akidibo 88.7 FM.
My baby is 6 6 months old.
Oh my! 6 months old? Wow! Now your baby needs more than breast milk. It's time to introduce mashed meals. In addition to breast milk, begin to give your baby mashed meals that contain at least one item from each of these 5 food groups: eggs, fish or meat, fruits and vegetables, oils, beans, groundnuts, soya or millet, rice, potato, maize or yam from 6 months. In addition to breast milk, your baby needs this combination of food types to grow healthy. This message is from the Anrin Project or your State Ministry of Health.
Chinedu! Don't worry, Ma. He'll be home on time, just like his dad. I'm cooking their favorite jollof with Sonia tomato mix. They are here.
Hey, is that jollof ready?
Right on time.
Your loved ones will always rush home for tasty meals prepared with Sonia tomato mix.
It's so good eating together with a family.
Yes, Ma.
Sonia tomato mix brings you together. Proudly Nigerian.
Ọmọ ti dé. Ọmọ tuntun jòjòló òkú oríire. Má jáfara o, gbọ́dọ̀ sọmọ lẹ́nu láàrin wákàtí kan àkọ́kọ́ tọmọ délé ayé láti fún un ní àkọ́kọ́ sí omi ọyàn aláwọ̀ òféèfé yẹn tí wọ́n ń pè ní colostrum. Àkọ́kọ́ sí omi ọyàn colostrum yìí ní gbogbo èròjà pàtàkì tọmọ rẹ nílò láti bẹ̀rẹ̀ ìlera pípé.
Ó sì ń ṣèrànlọ́wọ́ láti dènà àrùn fọ́mọ rẹ.
Rántí o, fọ́mọ rẹ lọ́yàn láàrin wákàtí kan àkọ́kọ́ tó o bímọ.
Ìkéde yìí wá láti àkọ́ṣeṣẹ́ Anrin, iléeṣẹ́ tó ń mójútó ètò ìlera ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́.
I wanna be as strong as Captain Amazing. I'm with amazing, they cereal, that is what I'll be. I've got strong bones, sharp eyes. I'm an amazing day, so that's right. I'm an amazing day cereal, that is who I am.
Now tell me what you need.
Amazing day cereal.
Golden Penny Amazing Day cereal. Nurture them for the future.
Àbẹ́ ò rí nǹkan, ẹ̀bùn pàtàkì látọ̀dọ̀ Ọlọ́run lọmọ jẹ́ fáwọn òbí. Tómi ọyàn sì jẹ́ ẹ̀bùn Ọlọ́run fáwọn ọmọ. Ó ní gbogbo èròjà aṣaralóore pẹ̀lú omi tọ́mọ rẹ nílò. Fún oṣù 6 àkọ́kọ́, máa fọ́mọ rẹ ní ọyàn nìkan. Rántí o, omi ọyàn nìkan fún oṣù 6 àkọ́kọ́. Ìkéde yìí wá láti àkọ́ṣeṣẹ́ Anrin, iléeṣẹ́ tó ń mójútó ètò ìlera ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́.
Akidigbo 88.7 FM.
You're welcome back. It is still the dailies right here at Agirigbo 88.7 FM. And yes, my name is Wuraola, and of course I'm in the studio with Maestro. We're discussing the issue of the labor unions and the federal government on the new minimum wage and also the strike that already commenced this morning. Maestro, so we're saying if federal government actually pays between 150,000 to 200, it is going to cripple the economy, or they won't be able to pay for so long.
I'm painting a scenario for you. I don't have the actual figures, but I can imagine that if you look at some states, in time, they will tell you, for instance, that, okay, we have an income, a flow from the federation account of about, I've heard this before from a governor, that we have a flow. It wasn't entirely true, though, but then he says so. We had a flow of about 5 billion naira monthly, and salaries, emoluments, and so on would take about 4 point something billion away. So if you look at that, let's assume that is true. I don't believe it was true entirely, but it was close to the truth. So if you had that kind of situation happening at the center, at the 37 other centers, what else do you think you will be able to do? Nothing. And the point now is you would not even be able to sustain it for 6 months before you are drained. And I think everybody knows this. Apart from that, you would also be denying a lot of people because the workforce, what is called the entire workforce in this country, how many are they? You know, from the federal to state to local governments, I'm sure they are not up to 5% of the population. So when you now pack the old money and give the workforce, what would the rest of us be eating? What will we be doing? So
it's supposed to flow. I mean, from
so
them.
I think to who?
To the market.
Really? So so I think, I don't even like the entire scenario. I don't even like what labor is fighting for, sincerely, because I know it's futile. At the end of the day, it's just like you sight an oasis in the desert. It's a mirage. By the time you get there, you see it was just a play on your brain. So that's what we've been saying. Even if you have 100,000 naira now, which I think is what they are thinking, how much would it be worth in 1, 2 weeks, 1 month down the line? It would be worth what you're earning now, because it will be taken away from you, by this inflation. So what then will be the worth of all this fight and sweat? So the thing to apply your sweat and your total resource to is not minimum wage. Do you want to tell me now that if they give these people 100,000, of course, you have some kind of euphoria going on, but it's going to be really Pyrrhic victory. So what you really want is the kind of money that could have the kind of value. That's the fight. This labor minimum wage thing, okay, maybe for a short while would have that placebo effect that will make people feel good for a moment. But you see, the real deal is for us to do certain things that are bigger than simply asking for more papers to be stuffed in our pockets.
Okay, but then you know that this what they are requesting for is actually minimum wage, not for all levels, because apparently when it is like 100,000 naira for the minimum wage,
it's going to wash all the way. It's not, nobody is left out. That they say minimum. So it's going to be like that.
It's actually not that's not the actual minimum amount for these people.
No, it's not just for a few people at the lower rung. No, it's for everybody.
Even for those that are already,
including those who are cool and keeping quiet and everything. So they are fighting for everybody. They're fighting for a lot of people.
Okay, and we really hope that once again, Labour and federal government get to settle their.
No, they will. You see, they are closer than we know.
The end of the meeting yesterday, it didn't seem massive. Oh, okay, maybe they didn't agree on something.
They are friends. They are friends. They are closer than you and I. That's the truth. But you see, everybody plays. Okay, it's just like politicians when they mount the rostrum and begin to campaign against one another. It looks like if they met in a dark alley, somebody will kill somebody. But you see them sipping cognac together. They are the best of friends. That's why easily, their children marry one another very easily. They are not enemies, you see. But they give us that impression, and then some unfortunate people will fight to the death on their behalf. Labor is like that too at the hierarchy.
But is it fair that these people that were negotiating on our behalf, I mean, talking about these lawmakers, their salaries, I can't even say it's on the high side.
It's maximum.
It is a maximum.
Then the labor wants
60,000. Are they not ashamed? 60,000 naira.
The ridicule is in labor asking for minimum from somebody who takes maximum. So it's but you see, it's because the
Maestro, a second.
All right.
It's 7 a.m. on Agidigbo 88.7 FM.
Okay, we're back.
They appear to be above the law. Because, when you see the, bodies and agencies that are supposed to regulate these things, what do you get, what don't you get, and so on, they pocket those agencies. They ensure that they get all this kind of obscene They allocate these things to themselves. Why? How are you going to control them? They are just far away there. But if we restructure, you and I will be looking at one another like this. I will see how you are going to be doing all these SUVs and everything. Unfortunately, our people also miss the point. There are some things that we should concentrate on our localities, and the power points at our different, localities, but we don't. We are too fixated on the center. It's like nowhere else exists. And that's unfortunate. Look at a president saying, call the governors, summon the governors, tell them to back this thing, tell them to. Do you hear Labour saying yes to that? Do you hear people who talk fury on daily basis say yes, yes, yes? Okay, so you have to be selective when you go to battles. But nobody is even, you don't hear anything. So it's almost like everybody across the states are interested in the position of the governors. Nobody is saying anything. Yet, that if we had local government autonomy, most of the people who are hungry and therefore angry 24/7, they will be assuaged a little. They will get something directly coming to them from the center, instead of it stopping at the offices of state governments before they post viceroys there and call it elections.
Sometimes ago we were talking about Wuraola Yusuff report, talking about cutting the cost of governance and all those kind of things. Is this not supposed to reach the Senate, the lawmakers? And if you are cutting costs from one part, it's supposed to spread to some other to benefit some other part.
Okay, how far have we even gone with the Wuraola Yusuff thing?
It just disappeared.
And I said so right from the beginning, because it's a very bold step, and it's going to affect a lot of things. When you begin to do it, you will hear from a part of the country saying, oh, this thing is targeting us. You are carrying out these mergers because of us. And now a lot of our people have been displaced, from the hierarchy, from the workforce, and it's going to become, a political thing. And did you really want, it might even become a religious problem. There's nothing it could not become. So, because this is Nigeria, the complications are massive. And I didn't think it was going to go far. So far, nothing has happened that you could write home about.
It just disappeared in the news.
Yeah, because, I think the president wanted to do something. And he had a lot of, quite some options on his table. And it was a terrible time. It was a terrible time. Naira was doing 19. Now we're buying fuel now for how much? We're buying fuel for 6 something now. Never mind that it hit 700 and something during Buhari administration. People have forgotten about that. It's really bad that it's 6 something now, and so on. And so when you're overwhelmed like that, you want, a way out. And I think that's when the option appealed to the president. But Wuraola Yusuff report, see how long it's been there. That from president to president, they've just been dumping it. Because this is Nigeria. Where that proverb is always counting. Aniki into you winioja de waniki into daudi. Tinto da about winningo.
Okay. I understand that part now. So this news is saying the federal government borrowed 20.1 trillion naira from domestic investors in the first year of President Tinubu's administration, representing year-on-year increase of 117% from the previous year. And this is prompting concerns over the impact of on the economy including a likely additional pressure on inflation. That is where I'm going. Can we take that right now?
I don't know what the Nigerian economy could not take, because what we call the economy in this country is even ill-defined. We don't produce, we don't export like crazy. We still say we have an economy. We don't have electricity. People talk about economy anyway. We don't have security, and goods go out and in and come in. We call it an economy anyway. So what we even call an economy, I don't understand. There was a time, and I will again go back in time to the IBB administration, that IBB, as military president of this country, came out and said the Nigerian economy is a marvel, that he didn't understand why it's still standing there, that everything had been thrown at it to fall. And he fully expected the Nigerian economy to collapse, but it did not. I didn't make that up. A president said so. A military president said so.
So that means we can take anything.
I don't know if we can take anything.
Hey.
I don't know if there is not, a crashing point that we have not, reached. But I think you cannot continue having this kind of inflation and say, oh, because you have something that is resilient on your hands. I think we should fear that crash. But I don't think that it is this kind of borrowing, or if you like, loans, that is going to strictly cause that. Because you see, sometimes when people have outlandish statements like that in reports and so on, it's always to a purpose. Number one, screaming headlines like that, sell your papers. Because I've been in print, I've been in broadcasting, I've been everywhere. So when you make a screaming, a headline like that,
It sells
papers, it catches attention. But when you now begin to read, because like they say, the devil is in the detail, then you see that it's really nothing. So if this administration borrowed, for instance, like they said, how much? Some trillions. What I'm going to ask is, to what use was it put? Now, if you're using it to build railway, for instance, I see your money coming back. I see your economy gaining more mobility. So I'm not thinking about the crash that report is immediately envisaging. If you put it to a coastal highway, for instance, I see the money coming back. I see your economy gaining higher mobility. I see all that. Then I'm going to now look at the measure of corruption involved, because corruption is involved in everything in this country. And so if the measure of corruption going into it is not so bad, then I probably will be saying, okay, all things being equal, this is not one loan that is going to lead to the crash of the economy. Maybe some other factors. So that's how to look at things. It's not to wake up and be seeing gloom, everywhere, because there's a lot of gloom, no doubt. But in certain instances, you still have to apply intelligence, even to a very poor report.
Okay, this will make us go to food inflation, food security, and something about that, because we have the FCCPC, that is the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission. They commenced a tour on some major markets, saying the purpose was simply to ascertain the reasons prices of food items and other goods have continued to aim for the roof, and also to find solutions to these things. And part of the things these people actually talking about the My 12 market in Lagos, is security and insecurity. Talking about the farmers, quite a lot of them that are staying in ITP camps right now, they were once farmers. And that is on the question of the fact that food security, food insecurity, what is the government doing on that right now?
Food, I don't believe that they are going to find what they are looking for in the markets.
Then where?
They won't find it in the markets. There are quite a number of reasons that are obvious why we're having skyrocketing, food prices. Number one is what we talk about often, and that is that insecurity on the farms. A lot of people have been chased off farms. Right on this table, we've heard how villages were sacked, by marauders. People simply, eliminated in their villages, and these are villages that are attached to very large farms. And so, when you wipe the farmers and their villages, everybody knows what the direct result will be. So that's one of the reasons. Apart from that, you also have this exchange rate. You see, because the dollar governs everything. And so you have an exchange rate that is making life very difficult for everybody, including the farmers. You see, the farmer is not in isolation. It's not an island. And so whatever is happening to the Naira-dollar exchange on the streets is also happening to that on the farms. Apart from that, you have, weak policies when it comes to farming and related items. You have very weak policies. There was a time that during the Buhari administration, government came and made a policy concerning livestock feed. It was initially a general ban, and then they turned around and gave some people waivers. And since then, we've not had peace, concerning the cost of even chicken and eggs. Around that time, they laid a lot of people off the business of selling eggs. Little poultries, medium, big poultries, and so on. Everybody was in all kinds of trouble. So policies that are weak, corrupt, or ineffectual also contribute to the kind of problem that we're talking about. Ultimately, though, everything will boil down to what kind of structure you're operating on. And if you have this kind of structure and you're pretending that you could lay a decent economy on this kind of structure, it's a pipe dream. It's not going to happen. It will not happen. You see, it is good for the politician to keep on pretending and grandstanding that, we have a nice structure that we could build a country on. It's not true. It's a lie. And it's not going to happen. So we will keep talking about these issues. Another person will come. Somewhere along the line, we will start talking about, first we will start with bad elections. The elections were rigged. We will start with that. You'll be hearing it from the people who are outrigged, because everybody rigs elections in this country. But the people who will make the most noise will be the people who are outrigged, because their own rigging machine was not enough. It wasn't good. So they were outdone. And so we will start from there. And after that, we will now begin to say, even the last government was better than this one. Blah, blah, blah. All the usual nonsense. And the energy that we are supposed to put together to say, let us create a structure. Because if you don't have a foundation that is good, what are you going to build a house on? And so you keep pretending that you're building a house on a piece of land without first laying the foundation. That's where the problem is coming from.
Okay, I'm talking about the past administration and the present administration. There is a statement from Tambuwa saying Tinubu cannot distance his government from Buhari's failure. But before we talk about that in extension, we have to go pay some bills now. We'll be back.
Akidibo 88.7 FM.
Madam, you don't try this new lush hair 4-in-1 no lie relaxer kit. We get free neutralizing shampoo and conditioner join.
What? Me,
I no deal.
You not even sabi wetin dey happen for town. You see this lush hair relaxer so?
E no dey pepper, e no dey burn. E go even make your hair shine like oil.
Na so, lush hair relaxer kit na correct. We no go make your hair cut. We no go make your hair dry. E no dey pepper and e dey relax hair well well. Come buy your own.
Lush hair, be beautiful.
Gẹ́gẹ́ bí aláboyún, ó ṣe pàtàkì kí n tọ́jú ara mi kí n sì wà ní ìlera pípé.
Kí ìwọ àtoyún inú ẹ lè wà nílera tó péye. Máa lo oògùn ẹ̀jẹ̀ tó ní áyọ̀nù nínú àti folic acid lójoojúmọ́ lákòókò tó bá lóyún. Eléyìí ń dènà àìtó ẹ̀jẹ̀ nínú oyún, yóò sì jẹ́ kóyún wà lálàáfíà. Fún ìlera pípé, ẹ máa yọjú sí àwọn òṣìṣẹ́ elétò ìlera yín fún ìtọ́jú oyún nígbà tó yẹ.
Ìkéde yìí wá láti àkọ́ṣeṣẹ́ ARIN, iléeṣẹ́ tó ń mójútó ètò ìlera ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́.
Chinedu!
Don't worry, Ma. He'll be home on time, just like his dad. I'm cooking their favorite jollof with Sonia tomato mix. They are here.
Hey, is that jollof ready?
Right on time.
Your loved ones will always rush home for tasty meals prepared with Sonia tomato mix.
It's so good eating together with a family.
Yes, Ma.
Sonia tomato mix brings you together. Proudly Nigerian.
I am pregnant. It is important for me to take care of myself and stay healthy.
To be strong and have a healthy pregnancy, take iron and folic acid tablets every day when you're pregnant. This prevents anemia and helps maintain a healthy pregnancy. Visit your healthcare provider for regular antenatal care. This message is from the ANRIN Project or your State Ministry of Health.
Akidibo 88.7 FM.
You're welcome back, and of course, this is still the dailies. Yes, we have the former governor of Sokoto State, Senator Aminu Tambuwa, asking President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to stop using some unsolicited and negative remarks about former President Muhammadu Buhari's tenure. In his words, there's no reason for President Bola Tinubu to allow his aides or ministers castigate and attack past APC government under Muhammadu Buhari, which tremendously benefited from as a member of APC. Should being a member of a particular political party, and not when you were not in government then, but now you're in government, should that mean that you cannot say, oh, the past administration did this and we are battling with this because of the past administration, just because he benefited as a member of that party?
Well, I think he's making remarks that are suitable for his own political projections. That's what politicians do all the time. You see, himself, Tambuwal, and the president, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, they were once like two peas in a pod. So
doesn't seem so anymore.
Well, who cares? I don't know if he's, whatever. He benefited becoming the speaker of the House of Representatives by the backing of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu as a national leader of when he wasn't even president. So if he's now saying a different thing about him today, what business of mine is that? But what I can say though is that I don't think this president even comes close when it comes to making negative remarks about past administrations. Go and look at the beginning, the first year, the second year of the Buhari administration. They spent it castigating the Jonathan administration. So, but
different party, maybe.
It doesn't really matter. Look, the political class is one. You understand? Do you want to tell me that the Goodluck Jonathan, political instance didn't benefit from the Asiwaju patronage? As Asiwaju indeed benefited from other people's patronage. So when they are there, don't go there with them, but let us be free on our own to be able to say, this was what the past administration did. That was okay. This was what it did that wasn't okay. That's my own business. It's not one politician who tomorrow is going to maybe he's even saying it because he wants certain things from the federal government. Do you know? So I don't know their game. So if you don't know the game and you begin to, you take side with this one today, you take side with that one tomorrow, quite soon you will begin to look funny to yourself because the politicians are looking for relevance at all times. It's not really because they are fighting for anybody. They don't make the statements they make because they are interested in you. But at that moment, the politician is acting in favor of his own political relevance. Because that political relevance is very vital in this country. It's what is going to give you financial comfort and other kind of things that the politician wants. So when he begins to say, the president should not talk about the former president, why wouldn't you allow the former president to talk? That he's not comfortable with the current president, who he assisted to become president. Whether, tacitly or, whatever it is. President Muhammadu Buhari, aided this president, into office. As this president aided Muhammadu Buhari tremendously into office, is their game. And when it affects us, we talk about it. I don't expect them to talk about it on our behalf. They don't help us.
They shouldn't do it because it's not affecting them.
They don't help us.
Okay, this news from the European Union is saying that they would be canvassing for improved democracy in West Africa. The European Union has reiterated its commitment to supporting democratic governance in Nigeria and the West African sub-region. 25 years of democracy. Do we still need support?
Yeah, we always need support. But the problem is, what kind of support do we need? Is it this one that they are talking about? I don't think so. You have to be really wary when it's coming from Europe. They want to support democracy. What were they supporting before? From the beginning, they were supporting slave trade for over 2 centuries until the European economy was fully built and they became first world everywhere. While we were, and if we talk about reparations, they don't want to talk about it. If we talk about apologizing for what they've done, they don't want to talk about it.
Do they even think they've done anything wrong?
But yes, surreptitiously, they start bringing back Benin bronze and other artifacts and everything. So, but I even think they are still doing it to us till tomorrow. So when they talk about supporting us, you have to analyze that very well. Because the current situation is that they are benefiting from the backwardness of African countries. They are the chief beneficiaries. And that's the same thing as benefiting from the slave trade. It's the same thing as benefiting from colonial setting. And today, neo-colonial setting or economic colonization, they are still, it's just like upgrading the same device. The same application being upgraded from time to time is what. So I'm really wary when I hear, we want to come and support you. You have to check what they are bringing, because sometimes, there's a dagger under the tunic.
Talking about the 2023 election, it went well, but then we still need to do some things to make it better. And
they know that no election goes well in this country. They are lying. Elections don't go well in Nigeria. Elections are staged, and the Europeans and the Americans, they have their preferences from time to time.
They do?
Yes, and their preferences will prevail mostly. And if their preferences fail to prevail, or you have certain instances where Providence plays a wild card, like unfortunately when the late President Yaradua passed on, and good luck Jonathan, who's coming from a territory of political orphanage, became president. Nobody, all of them, they were not comfortable until they got rid of Jonathan from office. They weren't comfortable. There was a massive gang up and everything, and they had to. Because what game do we play actually in this country is Northwest Southwest presidential game, and that's where we play the ping pong. So it goes to the Northwest and it comes back to the Southwest. Goes to the Northwest, comes back to the Southwest. That's the ping pong we played.
And the remaining part?
They are trying to get in there so far. And I'm talking about something outside of the military, system where you had people from
more from that part.
From the Middle Belt also becoming presidents in quotes. So far, that's what the ping pong we have been playing.
Okay, so yesterday night, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, declared that Nigeria's economy is experiencing an appreciable growth that may see the high inflation in the country come down in few months. And at this point, we're talking about 33.20% in March 2024. Inflation rate from 31.70 in February. Also, food inflation of 40.01% in the month under review. And now we have the finance minister saying inflation is dropping and our economy is heading in the right direction. I don't think an average Nigeria would accept to that fact.
Because he's not talking about the macro economy. He's talking about the micro economy, which I'm also not interested in as we speak. I'm waiting for a moment that the refineries will be functioning alongside that of Dangote. I'm waiting for a moment when we'll have better, food security policies that would ensure that the kind of money we have in our pockets is the kind that could get some food that we need from our markets. Money must count. It must count. And if it's not counting, there is no amount of economic jargon that we speak that will count at the end of the day. If people are hungry, that is not the conversation. But it is good where, you're in your ties and suits and everything, in some
under
of these,
AC.
in some of these conferences, it's okay to speak that kind of language. But it's not the language that the common man on the streets of Nigeria wants to hear at this point. What he wants to see is food, affordable with what he has in his pocket. So before the few months' time, there has to be another kind of articulation, because you don't get fed on promissory notes. You get fed, when you have food to put in your belly. And so I think there should be, even if they go to these course-y, seminars and workshops,
conferences.
Yes, there should be people who will break it down in a way that the common man will be able to say, okay, at least
maybe
I know what they're saying. But if you're talking about inflationary trends and you're talking about growing economy, he wants his belly to grow, not any kind of unseen substances.
Okay. It's about time we let people join in the conversation right here this morning. But then, before then, I'm talking about the new national anthem that we had the story popping up last week. We've seen quite a lot of development on social media. We've had people learning, and also even right here we have our chairman. Jeremy saying, if you know it, you're going to get a so amount. So people have been learning, but then we've seen so many people talking about the fact that is this the right thing to do and all. But one thing that struck me, there was a particular video I saw concerning this. Activist? Yeah, maybe I should say that. Aisha Yusuff at an event where this is an event. The national anthem is supposed to be played and people will stand up in respect of that, but she didn't. She kept fiddling with one paper in her hand and didn't stand up at all.
I don't know why people should be celebrating that. You know, I think the issue is far bigger, way beyond her. But some people simply decided they were going to celebrate her, and
For doing that.
For doing that, I mean, people have been ignoring the national anthem and pledge for a long time. You have some religious sects who do not, you know, they don't want to stand up. They don't want to honor the pledge. Some, you know, across religions. So it's not just one religion. It's not just some sects don't do it. So I don't know if she's doing it because of her religious beliefs,
Or maybe because of what happened during the election.
or maybe she's simply saying, "Okay, I don't have a country," you know, living in that delusion, and so on and so forth. So, but I don't think it's important enough for us to celebrate whatever Aisha Yusufu is doing or not doing. The most important thing for us to look at is one, this switching national anthems does not help the economy in any way. It doesn't even help our union in any way. It simply affords the people who wanted it badly that relief, you know, from effecting it, and they made a lot of mistakes. Whether they want to accept it or not, like I was pointing out on our Yoruba program yesterday, you had motherland in one, you have fatherland in the other one. So which one is it? In Africa, in Nigeria, we do fatherland. In Ghana, they do motherland. When the Brits were writing that anthem for us, it was Queen Elizabeth II that was in office, so it was convenient to say motherland, but not our mother. You know, it's their mother. So, and then, like I said before, the native, the tribe thing, and all the racial stuff there, you know, they are very prominent.
Maybe they do not see it as such.
These people are just happy with their generation. You know, they are, see how happy they were. All the old people were jumping around and saying it's the. So they lived their lives, and they also want to live the lives of their children. It's horrible, sincerely.
Okay, we're going to open the phone lines now and let people join in the conversation in the studio. But before then, let's listen to this.
Thank you for your attention. It's been lovely to have you keeping it locked on Agidigbo 88.7 FM. Now is the time to join in the conversation, to have the word, hear your voice, because we are the people's voice. Meanwhile, while you contribute to this program, kindly note that in accordance with broadcasting ethics, you are requested to keep your contributions modest, truthful, concise, and not offensive, inflammatory, or with tendencies to cause discomfort to anyone. Thank you. Now, let the conversation begin.
Before I reel out the phone lines, I'll be starting the conversation right here from our Facebook page, and where we have Abidemi saying, if the federal government have reasons to increase their minimum wage and meet prayer in their mailbox when they were going for recess, then the organized labor also have reasons not to decrease it. It is vice versa and no ulterior motive at all. The federal government should consider the masses when deliberating. If they could even make it up to 100,000 or 150, I believe the organized labor will be considerate in their demands. And also, this coming from Adeyemi says, for how long will the federal government stall on the issue of minimum wage? Because there hasn't been any positive changes regarding the high inflation rate that is biting hard on the average Nigerians. Both parties should shift ground and reach a compromise on the issue, because the use of no work, no pay tactics of the federal government might not work at this time, since the whole problem started with the removal of subsidy by the government. Adewumi Shegun says, I agree with Baba Maestro, said on the label that things will be sorted out between them and settle on a point. 2. Those now waging in on the crisis, why did they themselves not legislate on reducing what they are earning as politicians? Imafoje Peter says, please ask our politicians how much is the salaries. They're collecting billions of naira yearly. They cannot persuade the presidency to pay the worker what they demand. God bless and heal our land. And we also have this comment from Balikis on audio saying the minimum wage in Nigeria honestly doesn't reflect the current economic situation of Nigeria salary earners. If the minimum wage is 150,000 naira, it means things might not go below it. I don't believe that increasing the minimum wage is the way to achieve equitable distribution of wealth. Adebayo Jacob Alauti says, on labor unions' demand, I hope politicians too will be placed on minimum wage. Maybe that one will let them know what labours are facing. Anzal Luashegun says, what is the business of European Union in the democracy in Africa? Yeah, not so. That is why. And also, this one from Shala Dunyade to saying, living in that illusion. Baba Maestro saying a lot without saying a lot. Yeah, the Lulu is the solution. The illusion is the solution. So, on the issue of national anthem, coming from Adewu Mishegon, I think if we believe it is not good, those are sponsored to the 2014 confab should be blamed also because it is in their report revert of it to be what this present assembly now approved. Let us pick some calls right now. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Your name and where you're calling from?
My big brother, Maestro.
Please, sir. Please, your radio. Please ensure you're far away from your radio set.
For my radio.
Okay, sir.
I'm lucky to do it.
All right, sir. Your contribution.
Like my brother has said, look at the alacrity, the speed with which they passed national anthem, a colonial legacy. Nigerians were there when they selected that woman's anthem. You see, you cannot invite, people cannot invite patriotism by force. You did not give people what they need. The food on the table, insecurity continues. You know, the alacrity with which they pass that shows that they don't have the interest of them. Is that what we need now? Like in the case of labor, you see, how much are they demanding for? If you look at 1 naira is now 1,400 times 30. 1,400 naira times 30. That's 336,000. But I'm not saying that what labor is demanding, they should give them. But you have given award of 35,000. With 30,000, that's 65. Now, some states have agreed to pay 70. Why can't you put it down to 100,000? You are not really dying every day. Now, if they strike now, many people will die in hospitals. Our children want to write why they should not disturb them. Please, our children are our future. We cannot, because of labor, now disrupt their own future. We have wasted, you know, that's why some people have said that this generation is a wasted generation. The colonialists, this neo-colonialism that is playing off with these new leaders we are having, without taking interest of the masses. I think government should just do the needful.
Right.
Let that be put on the table of having Nigeria. God bless you.
Thank you so much, sir. The phone lines to call 0704 1001 887. 0704 1001 887 or +234 704 700 8873. Those are the phone lines to call to join in the conversation this morning. I'm just saying this story. I mean, I didn't even see before we talked about the Oronsayi report. The federal government yesterday restated its commitment to the implementation of the Oronsayi report. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Your name and where you're calling from?
Well, yes, my name is Mr. Bayo Adekunle, calling from New Bodija.
All right, sir, your contribution.
Good morning, sir. Baba Maestro.
Good morning.
I like your new name.
So I have a new name.
Okay, so yes, Baba Maestro.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so this is my own contribution this morning. I want to make my comment to what the Honorable Minister said concerning the economy. And from what you said just now, you did not mention about the macroeconomy. You see, for me, outside the refineries, I was opportune to pass through Ajaokuta because I was going to an Igala land and I saw the asset and the potential of that place. I tell you today, Sir Papa Maestro, if that place is in full capacity, it is more than enough to run this country without borrowing a dime. But unfortunately, that place is moribund. That's one. Two, I was, fiddling through my phone this morning, and I saw a post of somebody that was probably passing somewhere in Kwara State, Oakley biscuits. And I remembered that biscuit when I was very young, right? The pictures I saw, it was just heartbreaking. And this is the situation all over the country.
All right.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for your contribution. Please let us, when we are contributing to the conversation, please let us make it as short as possible so that we can have so many callers on the show. 0704 1001 887. Hello, good morning. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Your name and where you're calling from?
Yeah, well done, Wuraola. You see, about labor, this is about the labor strike. Under the current situation, I don't think there's anything labor can do that to press for salary increase. People have been crying, people have been making noise about the subsidy that was removed, which
of
this problem.
Okay.
I mean, people have been shouting to the government to help them as a result of the subsidy they have removed that causes this problem. And the government is not listening. They are not ready to bring anything down. And Labour already understand this. So there's nothing they can do than to press for what they can use to help themselves. Even if 1 million will not be enough for them, that doesn't concern anybody. That's what they want. They are not activists that will fight for the people. It is people that will fight for themselves. So if the government have done the right thing, it won't get to this stage. But the current government is not ready to do what people are saying. That is the problem.
Okay.
We go help the land.
All right. Thank you so much. 0704 1001 887. So the federal government yesterday restated its commitment to the implementation of the Oranshari report. Said, if we can recall, there is progress on it. The report was handed to a special committee to review. That committee is still working on it. So once it is ready, it will be presented to the government.
I will see how that runs. Because for instance, they had this thing saying, we are not going to lay off people. We are going to simply merge and this and that. And I don't see if the same number of people still exist in the system, whether you're separating or putting them together, it's still going to cost as much.
Okay. Hello, good morning.
Hello, my dear sister. How are you?
Good morning, sir. Your name and where you're calling from?
I'm Adekule calling from Monotone.
Okay, your contributions are quickly.
Yeah, it's all about the labor and the government.
Yes, sir.
They should have roundtable meeting and harmonize the issue on ground. It will affect a lot of people, the children, people that are receiving medical at the hospitals, the bankers, and so on. If they don't want to kill the Nigeria economy, they should harmonize the issue to the short period. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for your contribution, sir. 0704 1001 887. 0704 1001 887. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Your name and where you're calling from?
This is a good luck from Iwo Road. Good morning, Maestro, my teacher.
Mr. Good Luck. How are you?
I meet you too in Agidigbo.
Okay.
Well done, sir. God will bless you.
Thank you very much.
Now, I want to talk about the issue of Mr. President said he will stand his own hand for the corruption of a past leaders' administration, which former President Muhammadu Buhari said that nobody should ask or to ask him to help during the investigation or the corruption even by the previous present administration. Now, I want to ask Maestro, Senate President Godswill Akpabio was a part of former President Muhammadu Buhari's administration, who is the Minister of the Niger Delta and Development Chairman. Now, if this investigation continues, will you be part of the investigation to be invited by EFCC? Because as a Senate President, thank you.
All right, I don't have the MO of the EFCC. I don't know what the modus operandi is going to be. I don't know how they intend to do their business. But you and I will be watching keenly to see if they are going to do precisely what they said they would do. I doubt that very much. What you have in this country is a successive administration protecting, one another, and even across party lines. When you look at it, observant people will see that most of the people who are PDP ones are now APC today. And they held key positions then, they are holding key positions now. So I cannot tell you what the EFCC would do. We can only all wait and see it happen.
Okay. Let's go pay some bills. When we're back, we'll continue the conversation in the studio before we finally wrap up for today. We'll be back.
88.7 FM.
We can protect your car, your savings.
Let's not make it boring. Let's make insurance a lifestyle. If you've ever wished your insurance offered you more, then you're in good hands with Hares Insurance Group. In addition to our extensive insurance coverage, you can also enjoy free benefits such as networking opportunities, up to 10% discount on hotels, gyms, spas, and your favorite stores, tickets to exclusive events, and free resources to plan your future. So, next time someone asks you, what does your insurance company give you, sir? Your answer should be with Hares Insurance Group. Definitely much more than insurance.
To enjoy all these, sign up on www.hairsinsurancegroup.com. That is HEIRS. Hares Insurance Group. Simple life is here.
Madam, you don't try this new Lush Hair 4-in-1 no-lie relaxer kit. We get free neutralizing shampoo and conditioner join.
What? Me, I no deal.
You not even sabi wetin dey happen for town. You see this Lush Hair relaxer so?
E no dey pepper, e no dey burn. E go even make your hair shine like oil.
Na so, Lush Hair relaxer kit na correct. We no go make your hair cut. We no go make your hair dry. E no dey pepper and e dey relax hair well. Shikini time. Come buy your own.
Lush Hair. Be beautiful.
Chinedu!
Don't worry, Ma. He'll be home in time, just like his dad. I'm cooking their favorite jollof with Sonia tomato mix. They are here.
Hey, is that jollof ready?
Right on time.
Your loved ones will always rush home for tasty meals prepared with Sonia tomato mix.
It's so good eating together with a family.
Yes, Ma.
Sonia tomato mix brings you together. Proudly Nigerian.
Láti dènà àrùn ìgbẹ́ gbuuru àti àrùn mìíràn, pàápàá nínú àwọn ọmọdé, fọ ọwọ́ rẹ pẹ̀lú ọṣẹ àtomi tó ń dà ṣooro. Ní pàtàkì jùlọ, tó o bá lo ilé ìgbọ̀nsẹ̀ tán, lẹ́yìn tó bá ti ṣàǹdí fọ́mọ tán, kó o tó ṣoúnjẹ ọmọ rẹ tàbí kó o tó fún un lóúnjẹ. Àti pé o, tí ọmọ rẹ bá ní àìsàn ìgbẹ́ gbuuru, fún un ní oògùn oníwóró zinc lẹ́ẹ̀kan lójúmọ́ àti ORS ní wákàtí mẹ́rin tàbí kí ẹ máa fún díẹ̀díẹ̀ nínú ife. Èyí á jẹ́ kọ́mọ rẹ lè ní ìdápadà omi ara àtokun. Bákan náà, yọjú sílé iṣẹ́ ètò ìlera tó bá súnmọ́ ọ jùlọ láti gba ìtọ́jú fọ́mọ tó ní àìsàn ìgbẹ́ gbuuru. Ìkéde yìí wá láti àkànṣeṣẹ́ ARIN, iléeṣẹ́ tó ń mójútó ètò ìlera ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́.
Ó yá gbà, ọmọ mi ọ̀wọ́n.
Màámi, ẹ fi mílíkì sí ni.
Kò di dandan, ìwọ tó wò ná.
Báwo lẹ ṣe ṣe?
Ǹjẹ́ mílíkì inú ẹ̀ péye?
Ní gidi gan.
Ṣé ọ̀rá wàrà inú ẹ̀ ṣàn tó?
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
Milo 3-in-1 milky and creamy nìyẹn o. Mílíkì inú ẹ̀ péye. Mi ò nílò láti ṣàfikún mílíkì sí i.
Mo nífẹ̀ẹ́ rẹ̀ màámi.
Fún àwọn ọmọ rẹ ní Milo 3-in-1 milky àti creamy tuntun, mílíkì inú ẹ̀ péye. Ó kún fún káṣíọ̀mù láti ran àwọn ọmọ rẹ lọ́wọ́ láti yege lójoojúmọ́. Milo, agbára láti tẹ̀síwájú.
Akidibo 88.7 FM.
Hello, good morning. Oh, we lost that call already. Okay, this is a news coming from Abia, especially Labour Party from Abia State, asking the military to please go after only the soldiers killers in Abia. And that is for the killing of 5 soldiers in Abia during Thursday's sit-at-home called by the separatist, the indigenous people of that part. But now they are saying, please, the soldiers go only after those that did this thing. But how are they going to ascertain that? Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Your name and where you're calling from?
Wuraola Yusuff is my name.
Okay, so your contribution.
Maestro, I admire you.
Please ensure that you are far away from your radio set or it is totally off.
Yeah, I will do. I said, Maestro, I admire you. Your analysis, you are very brilliant.
Thank you.
May God continue to empower you.
Amen.
More power to your elbow.
Amen. Thank you.
Our leaders are doing what they are doing. They are so corrupt because of one reason. They are not productive because of a single reason. They don't think of harnessing our resources because of one reason. And the one reason is that they have access to international law. The IMF is dictating to them. So, because of that money they have access to, they can steal. They don't have to work. They don't have to think. They don't have to harness our resources. They think that for money, they have sufficient money to spend on everything. They can rig our election because of the money they have.
Okay.
The loan they are obtaining, they share them and put them in their pocket. It's not beneficial to the country. And it will continue like that if we don't receive that loan they are taking all the time.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much for your contribution. The phone lines to call 0704 1001 887. Right now, the military, they already swore to the death of the soldiers. They said they are going to retaliate the killing of the soldiers. And this is a state where we have thousands of innocent citizens. Maestro, how do we go about this?
Well, I don't like the word retaliate.
That is what they said.
And I don't believe it's coming from the military. I don't think so. Maybe that's what how it is reported. But if that word retaliate came from the military, I would be seriously disappointed. It's bad. It's really horrible to do this to soldiers, to do it to any human being. Let alone soldiers who are sworn to defending the country and to defend the rest of us with their lives. So what the military should do is to use all its powers and resources to ensure that, it fished out the perpetrators and let them face justice instead of laying emphasis on retaliation.
Okay. All right, then we have about 2 minutes left. But before then, let us just have a take-off from the show this morning, and that will be on the labor versus the federal government. Maestro, your pattern short on that.
The point that I will want most of our listeners to take away is that we shouldn't sink into myopia that labor could not do anything else. Labor, of course, could do anything else. Labor could pack its resource and do something differently from what it has been doing all the time and finding itself in the same situation. Labor could use its power, its resource to request something bigger than this so that it would not be this perennial request for minimum wage all the
and
time.
Going on strike.
Yes, that's more intelligent.
Okay, this is the last comment I'll be taking from Adeniki Oyewole, saying the government has been highly insensitive when it comes to the issue of welfareism, and not only the workers but also the governed. It is one thing for the government to review the salary of workers and another thing to work on the price control to make whatever they do meaningful. May God heal our land. And that is on the note we'll be leaving in the studio this morning. Thank you so much for joining the show on our Facebook page, on your radio set, and also on our should I say Radio Garden, and all sort of platforms you joined from. Thank you so much for joining in the conversation this morning. My name is Wuraola Yusuff, and tomorrow is another day to come talk about our great nation, Nigeria. Nigeria, we hail thee.